The new spat with the EU is in response to Boris Johnson's procurement policy for the British wind turbine industry. The EU, particularly Madrid and Paris, claim the UK's current policy could be in breach of the post-Brexit trade deal signed at the end of last year. Alarm bells rang after the government set an industry target of 60% of supply chains for new offshore wind farms to use UK-manufactured goods or domestically supplied services. The government issued 2 questionnaires for those bidding for contracts, which required applicants to anticipate, with supporting evidence, the level of UK content in their project and level of the local job creation. But the trade deal agreed with the EU specifically prohibits any requirement for companies to achieve a given level or percentage of domestic content. Spain and France are home to leading energy supplies, so have a keen interest in the upcoming contracts. The 2 countries have instructed the European Commission to raise the issue of the new contract processes with the UK at a recent meeting. British officials confirmed the details of the questionnaire but said they had not yet decided on which companies to use or if the response to domestic supply chains will be given significant weighting. Sam Lowe, a senior research fellow at the Centre for European Reform think tank, condemned the plans and warned the UK could be in breach of its international commitments. He said, local content requirements are prohibited not just under the EU-UK Trade and Cooperation Agreement, but also the UK's WTO commitments. So the question that needs answering is whether the UK is in fact giving companies with UK supply chains preferential access to contracts, or just information gathering. The latter is fine, the former less so. The Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy said the success of applications for UK contracts would not depend on commitments by companies over the use of local labour and services. It said, "We are committed to supporting the UK renewables industry wherever possible, and building sustainable supply chains for low-carbon electricity, capable of delivering the offshore wind sector deal's industry commitment of 60% UK content in its facilities." However, in accordance with the UK-EU trade agreement, there are no mandatory requirements for supply chains to use UK products, or any other type of mandatory targets. Follow Express.co. UK for live updates. European Union nations have backed plans to maintain personal data flows with Britain in another significant post-Brexit agreement. Member state envoys endorsed the UK's data protection standards as sufficiently high enough that such information will be allowed to flow between Britain and the EU. The decision will allow the European Commission to adopt 2 adequacy decisions before the end of June to allow a seamless transition at the end of a 6-month grace period for data flows. It relates to the EU's overarching General Data Protection Regulation and a directive on processing data connected with criminal offences, including victims, witnesses and suspects. The move is seen as a big boost for cross-channel business and crime-fighting efforts after Brexit. Labour's leadership has come under stinging attack from pro-EU campaigner Lord Adonis, for failing to confront Brexit and conceding to Boris Johnson. Lord Adonis leads the European Movement UK, which campaigns to keep Britain closely tied to the bloc. Earlier this month he suggested Britain should reapply for EU membership. On Twitter, Lord Adonis posted, "At UK-German summit where Lord Frost gloried in Brexit as cause of Tory resurgence. The opposite is true emo, where non-Tory leaders have confronted Brexit, London, Scotland, Wales, they've won. Labour's England problem is that it hasn't confronted Brexit, so it conceded to Johnson." 9:15 PM update. Brexit panic as EU citizens scramble for UK status with 10 days to go. Thousands at risk. Thousands of EU citizens are being left in limbo as they wait for the granting of a settlement status to remain in the UK after Brexit, academics and Remainer MPs have warned. The current deadline is June 30th, but with less than 2 weeks to go, the latest figures show 320,000 EU citizens are waiting for their application to be confirmed by the Home Office. Applying to the EU Settlement Scheme, EUSS, will afford EU citizens a settled legal status to carry on living and working in the UK now the Brexit transition period and freedom of movement has ended. 7:45 p.m. update. Frost welcomes the prospect of EU willing to find solutions over Northern Ireland Protocol. Brexit Minister Lord Frost has welcomed a speech by European Commission Vice President Maros Sefcovic over the Northern Ireland Protocol. The Conservative peer tweeted, "It is thoughtful and interesting about our future relationship together, even if of course we cannot agree with some of its fundamental assumptions about Brexit. I am glad," he signals, on Northern Ireland, that the EU is willing to find creative solutions when required. Accordingly, we look forward to responses to the many proposals we have put forward, for example on medicines or for a veterinary agreement based on equivalence. 6:15 p.m. update. Ireland will follow Britain and leave the EU, predicts Brexiteer Kate Hoey has claimed Ireland could leave the European Union after Brexit gave the UK a sense of freedom. The Eurosceptic Labour peer claimed it was the logical thing to happen for Ireland to leave the 27-member bloc due to a change in attitudes from Irish citizens thanks to the benefits the UK gets from leaving. Baroness Hoey, a former Labour MP who is a now non-affiliated peer, added, "I feel that every day there is something that you think, goodness, we can do that now and we need to be able to grab onto that." 4:45 p.m. update. Northern Ireland needs stability in midst of protocol chaos, says Ireland. The last thing Northern Ireland needs is for its largest party to be divided, Ireland's Foreign Affairs Minister has said. Simon Coveney said the DUP should be given space to respond to the challenges it is facing. The party is looking for another new leader after Edwin Poots announced his intention to quit following a brief but tumultuous reign. 3:15 p.m. update. Win for UK. Britain exports more food and drink outside the EU after Brexit. The UK exported more food and drink to outside the EU than into it in the first few months after Brexit as exports to the bloc nosedived. Sales to non-EU countries made up 55% of all UK food and drink exports in the first 3 months of 2021 compared to less than 40% a year earlier, according to data from the Food and Drink Federation. However, this is not thanks to any major boom in exports to non-EU countries, which only rose by 0.3%, the group said. The European Union has set the wheels in motion on a plan to ban petrol and diesel-powered cars in the next 14 years. EU officials are discussing the strategy to help the bloc hit its zero-emissions target for vehicles sold beyond 2035. Details of the move sparked an immediate backlash from Germany's powerful car industry, which has warned bureaucrats against the plan for months. Hildegard Müller, head of Germany's VDA car lobby, fumed. That would not only mean the end of the internal combustion engine, but also the end of plug-in hybrids. The European Union's hardline stance towards the Northern Ireland Protocol conveniently ignores its ongoing failure to police its own external borders, a Brussels-based analyst has said. EU expert Peter Klipp has said the coronavirus pandemic has worsened the situation still further, with a steady stream of counterfeit cigarettes and drugs flooding into the bloc as a result of lax controls highlighted earlier last week by the European Court of Auditors. Specifically, the ESA's report was deeply critical of Frontex, the EU's border force, suggesting it was not currently fit for purpose. Mr. Klepp, a research fellow with the think tank Property Rights Alliance, highlighted his concerns in a report published on the Brussels Report website. In it, he highlights the decision to arm border guards after the EU issued them with 2,500 semi-automatic pistols and 3 million full metal jacket rounds of ammunition, at a cost of £4.3 million. Frexit campaigner Florian Philippot lashed out against Brussels' inability to allow for change in France as the country prepares to go to the polls on Sunday. France holds elections this month for all 13 regional authorities on the mainland. For President Emmanuel Macron, however, the stakes are higher than who will get to build a tram in Brittany or high schools in Provence. Les Patriotes leader and candidate Florian Philippot will run on a ballot fighting for France to leave the EU. Mont voters are expected to fail to show up to vote due to political apathy. Mr. Philippot claimed this was a result of years of EU's interference in French politics. Brexiteer Ben Habib has highlighted the EU's ineptitude after the revelation that Germany's much-hyped CureVac coronavirus vaccine is only 47% effective, leaving it lagging well behind the UK-developed AstraZeneca jab, which he pointed out the bloc had done its best to rubbish. Mr. Habib, a former Brexit Party MEP and a staunch defender of AstraZeneca's treatment, which was developed in conjunction with Oxford University, was speaking a day after CureVac published initial results suggesting its jab has an efficacy rate of just 47%, less than half that offered by 2 doses of AstraZeneca. He told Express.co.uk, "This is a bit rich." The EU belatedly sought to pre-purchase AstraZeneca's vaccine. Having missed the boat, they set out to rubbish it. They then rushed to make a massive commitment to a German homegrown CureVac vaccine. But guess what? It doesn't work. It is only 47% effective. The EU is facing a new rebellion as Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz works to build a new rebel coalition against the bloc's fiscal rules. Austria is seeking to build a team of EU rebel countries that would prevent a softening of the bloc's budget rules when they come under review later this year and in 2022, calling for a stronger focus on reducing public debt. In a letter to EU counterparts, Austrian Finance Minister Gernot Blümel said the rules had been central to reducing debt to GDP ratios across the bloc after the sovereign debt crisis. Austria is among a group of EU countries often seen as frugal, along with Sweden, Denmark, and Finland, the Netherlands, Germany, the Baltics, Slovakia and the Czech Republic. Britain has asked the EU for a 3-month delay on implementing a ban on the transport of sausages and other chilled meats to Northern Ireland. The ban was agreed to in 2019 as part of the Northern Ireland Protocol. Under bureaucratic red tape introduced as part of the Brexit withdrawal agreement, chilled meats are not allowed to be transported from Britain to Northern Ireland from the end of this month. Ministers have lashed out at the EU's administration of the protocol, accusing the European Commission of being purist in its implementation of the new rules and damaging trade within the UK. EU nations have backed plans to maintain personal data flows with Britain in another significant post-Brexit agreement. Member state envoys endorsed the UK's data protection standards as sufficiently high enough that such information will be allowed to flow between Britain and the EU. The decision will allow the European Commission to adopt 2 adequacy decisions before the end of June to allow a seamless transition at the end of a 6-month grace period for data flows. It relates to the EU's overarching General Data Protection Regulation and a directive on processing data connected with criminal offences, including victims, witnesses and suspects. A shocking new investigation has revealed that the EU has been trying to strike a trade deal with Australia for more than a quarter of a century. In the week Boris Johnson unveiled his landmark agreement with Canberra. And with International Trade Secretary Liz Truss now turning her attention to New Zealand, a former MEP has said the glacial pace at which the bloc moves comes as no surprise, having witnessed how it operates from the inside. The new free trade agreement means British products such as cars, Scotch whisky, biscuits and ceramics will be cheaper to sell into Australia, boosting UK industries that employ 3.5 million people across Britain. The UK-Australia trade relationship was worth £13.9 billion last year and will grow still further as a result of the deal, boosting opportunities for businesses and producers in every part of the UK. Dutch lawmakers have agreed to prevent future Dutch governments from vetoing EU treaty amendments, sparking the fury of Brexit campaigners. The proposal to not exclude EU treaty amendments in advance was passed by a majority of Dutch MPs on Wednesday. Announcing the parliamentary victory, MP Sjoerd Sjoerdsma, who proposed the motion, tweeted, "Proposal accepted. The Netherlands will no longer stand in the way of fundamental reforms in Europe."